The Highland Hills tower the skies with scrolls. What the shadows they cast draw the spirits near. After all,
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We've had a wee bit of some technical problems with StreamYard. There's a slight echo there, which we can't do anything about. For some unknown reason, we can't seem to get rid of it. But anyway, I'd like to welcome you tonight. We've got a special guest, Mr. Drew Ellingsworth. He's here to tell us the story about Donean Castle in the Scottish Highlands. But before I start, we're also joined by my co-host Drew here. You know, and you feeling a lot better now, Drew, that you get your two teeth pulled out?
Yes, I must admit it's a big relief getting them out. I'm a bit tender at the moment, but that'll pass.
Yeah. So I would like to see who's all in the chat. Who have we all got in there? Let's have a look. We've got Paradox, welcome. We've got My Mystical Living Light, which we had on last week, guys. Welcome. We've got Stephanie. I didn't call you Stephen.
Well done.
We've got JJ's Adventures. I've got my wee postage slip up in the wad here, so don't make an ass yet. We've got Robbie. Welcome. You know, Living History of Mysteries. That's this man down here. Now, before I start, guys, obviously we've got sponsorship now. So if you would like, could you check out Spirit Shack for us? Because it helps the channel. Plus, I've noticed, Drew, did you notice that they sell apps for Android and iOS? Did you see that? And they're actually really cheap. I mean, it's only £4 or £5 pounds. I think it's like $6 or something like that. For like, there's spirit boards, there's the ghost detector. It's got all the apps. So I'm going to post a link, guys. So if you fancy it, please visit the store. Because I think you get when you first purchase something, you get a little bit something off, but also it helps the channel, you know, because I can't monetize yet. I've still got 2,000 watch minutes to get, so the joy, so you know.
We'll get you there, Christopher. We will get you there.
I would also like to say to everybody that I'm streaming through tonight, Parapost International, Bald and Bonkers. What we got here, we've got, my goodness, we've Facebook, we've got multiple Facebook channels. YouTube, I'm trying
Welcome,
to make
Uncle Danny, who's Jason Bones Inspectors.
You know,
I know,
but anyway, Jason Bones Inspectors. Hiya, Danny. It's good to see you, my friend. So anyway, Drew, Drew 2, I should say. Drew 2 makes life easier. Hey, Daryl, welcome. So Drew 2. What about Donean Castle? How do you know it, and how are you related to this amazing building?
That's a 16th century story.
Yeah.
Donean is actually the name of the island. It sits at the intersection of 3 locks, and it was originally the let me see here real quick. I've actually got reference material here because I know Mackenzie's. I don't have to look at it. Donean Island was originally, and Donean Castle, it was actually built in the 14th century. But the island was the property of the Mackenzie clan and the McCrae clan. I mentioned this I think I actually mentioned it in the video that Drew played earlier. The McCrae clan was referred to as the male shirt of the Mackenzies. They were the protectors of the kings of Scotland. So, I mean, basically you had the whole clan as bodyguards for the Mackenzie clan. You never seen a Mackenzie, there wasn't a McCrae nearby. And they were so valued that the Mackenzies gave Donean Island and Donean Castle to the McCraes. And, of course, you know, it was involved in the Jacobite uprising of the the 17th and 18th century.
And it got destroyed. It got destroyed with the Jacobite uprising because it was rebuilt again.
Yep. It was actually purchased at the beginning of the 20th century by a McRae.
Yep.
And he spent pretty much the remainder of his life rebuilding. But you have to understand, too, that the castle enlarged and shrank over the centuries. They'd lose parts of it. They would rebuild. They would lose parts. They would rebuild. So,
here's actually a diagram that I've managed to look up that I found for it, which I found quite interesting.
It's an amazing castle. There's a hidden floor and everything on it.
Oh yeah, look up.
The fourth floor's hidden. It's crazy.
If you look right there at the entrance, you'll see the small ramparts going around the main yard and everything. It's got the high towers. At one point in time, it had multiple towers and an actual curtain that went up. But it stood there at the 3 locks early off to help to dissuade any kind of a Viking invasion coming in through those locks right there.
Do you know how it got its name, Donean? I do.
It was the suspicion was it was named after an Irish priest.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
That came to.
Yep.
So, and it's really funny, and I was thinking about this with it being named after an Irish priest and everything. I know it's not hit the channel yet, but starting on the 2nd of March, which is my first day in March to release videos, we're starting here in America. It's actually Irish American Heritage Month.
Yes.
So the entire month of March, the channel is going to be all Irish folklore, legends, myth, tradition, language.
I actually post your channel in there. When you go, Drew, keep down.
But I just actually right before, matter of fact, I was gobbling down my hamburger, sitting here just a few minutes before this started. And because my wife, being a diabetic, she told me I was going to eat or she was going to stick her foot up my arse. And it was going to be a very, very embarrassing live stream with her legs sticking off this direction out of camera. But I just got done encoding a video on Dualan, the headless horseman of Irish tradition. So it's
to watch that. That'll be interesting.
It's going to be a good month. It's going to be a good month on the channel.
I've actually got a selection of photos of inside the castle, ladies and gentlemen, and I think I can see Drew with his kilt on now and his hat with a big feather sticking out it, marching over the land. Rob Roy. I would say more Rob Roy. What would you say? Would you see yourself, Drew?
I can picture Drew there.
They're standing there, his big cane, ready to walk out the hills. But take a look at this place. This place is stunning.
I couldn't be royalty. There's no way I could be royalty.
Oh, come on! That's the main dining room. Could you see yourself sitting there?
Can you actually imagine a bunch of drunk Highlanders?
Yep.
I mean, we were not royalty in any way, shape, or form. We were the fighting class. But could you imagine the fighting class of Highlander from back in the 15th or 16th century, all crowded around in this formal dining room?
Oh my God! Well,
with their tankards in hand.
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
Say that tables maybe for the 16th or 17th century. I think when it was back then, I think it's true what Drew says. It's like they would all be sitting. It would be more dirty. There would be cobwebs. There wouldn't be any electricity.
Yeah, no windows either.
There's actually, I've got a photo here.
It's beautiful.
Whenever I think about my clan in the 14th or 15th century being in this castle, I have flashbacks to the opening scene in the original Highlander movie
That's right.
When here's this beautiful big castle behind them, and they're all riding out in their old dirty tartans, and they got their wee coats on stuff, and they're riding into battle. And there's the castle behind them, and it's, you guys are farm class. Why are you coming out of that castle?
It's actually the most filmed castle in Scotland. You'd think it would be Edinburgh, but it's not. It's Donean.
Yep. It's the most filmed castle, most photographed castle in all of Scotland. It is reserved more for weddings from people all over the world than any other castle in all of Scotland. And I don't understand it. Because the castles in... I mean, there's much more beautiful castles at Stirling and you know, Inverness and Edinburgh, but I mean, here's this little tiny castle way up on the northwest coast of Scotland. You know, it's got to be damn bloody cold about 9 months out of the year with the wind coming off the North Sea. And here's people standing out there in kilts and dresses getting married from all over the world.
It's beautiful.
I've never been nearby it, and hopefully maybe this year or next year I'll get there. But do you know, without realising, for the last 2 months since we've been doing all these shows, see the background of this channel, which on the new, that's Donean Castle.
Right.
Did you know, Ken? That's
that bridge right there that leads up to the main courtyard.
I mean, I could see myself buying that if it's win like the Euro Millions, 100 million. I don't know how much something like that would cost now. You'd be talking probably about 5 or 10 million quid for something like that. I mean, this picture here is absolutely stunning. Just wait till you see this. This is, look at that. That's obviously somebody getting married, but look at that.
It's got loads of peak holes as well around the castle where you can peek out into all the 4 directions, which I thought was interesting.
I'll show you all the photos I might as well. Look at that. I can see you there, Drew, sitting there in your kilt.
That would
I would have to have a PA system. I don't like yelling at dinner time. So I would have to have a P system set on this end of the table and one sat on the other end table, so I could communicate with my wife.
Pass the peas, darling.
Oh my God!
Yeah, exactly.
I can just see it now. Yeah, I could just see. You could do your lives for there, Drew. You could sit there and you could say, "We're live in Donean Castle." And the spirits would.
It would eliminate all my fun playing with the green screen.
I mean, it's obviously really popular with the American tourists, right? It's one of the most popular castles in Scotland, but it has got a dark history. It actually really has got a really dark history. I mean, I was just reading it over this year. Drew 2 or Drew 1, do you want to tell us all about it?
I'll leave it up to you. I don't want to say.
Drew 2. I feel weird calling him Drew 2. It's crazy.
Let's just say the battles that went on there, I think some of them we can't repeat.
No.
The tortures that was done.
Yeah. You know, real quick, Chris, one thing that tickled me in the first picture of the dining room that you showed, if you look up on the wall on the left-hand side, there is a pair of black crossed, the other one before that one.
This one?
Nope, that's the first picture you showed. The one after that one.
Yep. It must be this one then. That's the
nope, that's not it.
I'll just go through them all and just tell me what one it is. It's that one.
That one. The one you just popped up. It's not popped up on their screen yet. But if you look up on the wall up there, you'll see a pair of black crossed they're the Scottish basket hilt.
Yep.
Now I don't know if you guys can see. You probably can't.
There you go.
Here, hold on. We'll do it this way.
Slow. There you go. Oh, he's bringing his sword out, ladies and gentlemen. Don't cut yourself. I've given you the main screen. Aye.
Just like that.
That's a nice sword.
Now, my big claymore actually hangs above our bed in the bedroom. Not only did my son carry that in our wedding, but it actually, that's my home protection, because
I was good.
You break in my house at night, and the first thing you're met with is a 6-foot-long sword that can be thrown like a spear.
Yeah.
I feel sorry. I mean, the police here know. Police here know if they ever get a home invasion call from this address, bring plastic grocery bags, not a plastic body bag.
Yeah.
Because they may come in the house in one piece, but they're not going to leave the house in one piece.
There's my mystical loving light there. Chris, don't piss him off. He's packing. It's an interesting thing. See the claymores, the big claymores, and a lot of people don't know this. And obviously, Drew too. You'll know this, but they're unbelievably heavy. Can you imagine? And like say the 1300s, the 1400s, and stuff like that, going to battle, walking maybe 16 or 17 miles, carrying that, and then getting into battle. There was a thing in my village that were actually showing them off, and they had a replica of one, and you had to put gloves on to pick, because it wasn't a replica. It was the real deal, and I could hardly carry it. I can't imagine myself walking 15, 16 miles with this.
A lot of times they would sling them on their shoulders. They wouldn't carry them. You couldn't carry them in the belt because they would drag the ground behind you. So your choices are either be on horseback and carry a claymore with you, or you carry a smaller basket hilt that's only 4 feet long. So, I mean, it sits yay high above the ground when you're walking, or if you're marching carrying your claymore, you got it slung over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Like a beggar with a bandana hanging off their stick. Yeah, that's.
I mean,
and then you'd get into battle, and I mean, you're right there with both hands on the pommel of that, and plus you had that great big steel ball on the end of it to help counterweight when you're swinging it.
Who here in the chat would like to see Drew too? May I add, with all the gear on, with the claymore strapped to his back, marching out of the hills?
That would be a sight.
Well, believe it or not, on my old channel, I actually had videos of me at Highlander events, and I did have my claymore either slung over my shoulder or on my back. And see, that's another thing. You never what they would do a lot of times is they would have the claymore, and then they would have a leather thong with 2 loops in it, and they'd run the blade into those hoops. They'd sling it over their shoulder and carry it like a backpack. But much like, in that famous Scottish film, The Fight for Freedom, that I won't mention,
what
you seen William Wallace?
Freedom!
No, I don't. But you seen William Wallace in that movie grab his sword and pull it out of his sheath,
you take our life,
and is ready for battle.
Freedom.
Yeah, but you'll never take his 7-foot-long arms either, because that's how long they have to be to pull a 6-foot-long sword off your back.
You never take our sword because it's too heavy.
I mean, let's go back to the castle now. I mean, I was just reading here about the Jacobite and the fighting at the place. And can you tell us any more about the Jacobite wars that went on round about there at that time? Drew.
Believe it or not, there's very, very little documentation about what Jacobite battles went on. Now, a lot of people know about the Jacobite uprising being, about 10 years before the 7 Years' War started here in America. That's when Culloden was, and, but there's very little documentation about the battles that took place in the 17th century or before, in the early 18th century. So we know that there was Jacobite battles going on because of the damage done to the castle, the fact that the castle was almost completely obliterated.
That's right.
So we know the fighting was there.
They've actually got pictures of the place, and it's got a picture of cannonballs that were fired into the castle. And it's actually quite interesting here. In 1719, sorry, the castle was garrisoned. Right, this is quite interesting, by 46 Spanish soldiers who were supporting the Jacobites. They established in mechanized gunpowder, which is really interesting because obviously the Spanish were helping them with cannons and stuff like that. It's with the delivery of the cannon from Spain, the English government caught wind of the intended uprising and sent 3 heavy armed frigates to blow. Basically, that's what damaged the island so bad. It was the 3 frigates that basically obliterated it. I mean, I was reading this last night. It's so interesting, isn't it?
Oh my God, Anne, you are so right. Sister Drew, you're amazing, Jan says.
Well, thank you, Jan. You're amazing too.
I mean, day before yesterday, you had your chompers jerked out. You were so bad off, you couldn't even do your own stream last night because your poor face was hurt so bad. And here you are talking just fine tonight.
Yes, I'm okay now. It's just a bit tender, guys. That's all.
Don't ever let it be said, guys and gals, the Scottish women don't have balls bigger than most men.
We're made of sturdy stuff as Brits, as Scots.
And they make the porridge for the mean
when I got my teeth pulled out, I was such a whiner baby that I didn't do anything except suck on ice cubes for like 3 days. I didn't talk. I didn't get up and move. I had somebody bring me bowls of ice cubes, and I laid on my couch and I sucked on ice cubes for 3 days. And here she is, less than 36 hours later, just a talking along. So I'm not ashamed to say Scottish women have got big balls. They're strong. But then again, behind every great Scotsman is a great Scottish woman poking him in the arse, making him go forward.
Oh,
so
you think of the Scottish women that lived in that castle?
Well,
no. Jason,
they're actually building another part on it just now. I remember, I had seen it earlier. There's actually a big gift shop and things in it, they're thinking about opening up another part in the actual courtyard. So it's an onward process. It's an amazing castle.
I mean, imagine ghost hunting there. Oh my God!
I know, it's a dream, isn't it? Definitely is.
Oh my God! Right, we need to go there, ladies and gentlemen. We need to go there, and it's just funds in it. I mean, because it's paying to go there. It's quite expensive. I would love to see Drew Ellingsworth come over and march on his kilt on, And
I would have no problem. I would have no problem donning a McRae hunting plate and walking straight across that bridge to the main courtyard right there. It was just, if they asked me who I think I am, I said I would think I am a blood McRae, and I have the right to be here. Kiss my arse.
Exactly.
So
is that the McRae tartan that's on the floor?
That is one of the tartans.
Right. So
there was actually 3 tartans. As most Scottish clans did, they had multiple tartans. They had an everyday work tartan, they had a hunting tartan, and they had a formal tartan. And that is actually one of the cartons for the McCrae claim.
That's very, very, very interesting. That, I mean, it's a stunning castle. Let's just face it. It is one of the most stunning castles. And we need to go there. We need to go there. What's this you've got here, Drew?
I've found on the actual website, you can see them all marching up to the castle. See it?
I've seen that. That's what I'm reading off of the now. That's the website I'm reading off of. Because I've actually got to
look how packed that was.
I know.
The local community.
In which is quite interesting. Where is it? Where are we? In 1911, it was bought by a colonel, and he started to do it up. It took 200 years for the ruins of Donean Castle to be abandoned. That's how long it was abandoned for. 200 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
It opened to the elements. Colonel John McCrae, Glassstrap, or whatever it's called, bought the island in 1911, along with his clerk of works. He decided the next 20 years of his life, reconstruction the castle. It's, I mean,
how derelict it was then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Crazy, isn't it? How it used to look.
Yeah. I mean, I could see myself there. I could see, right, that's that. We need to win the Euro Millions and buy that. Drew can come and stay with us, you know.
We'll give you all the privileges you want, Mr. McCrae.
Aye, the tourists can follow you about. They'll be like, aye, here's one of the last living relatives of the castle.
Well, you mentioned the Spanish soldiers. A little bit of the back history on that. Eileen Donean played a role in the Jacobite risings of the 17th and 18th centuries, ultimately culminated in the castle's destruction. 1718, the castle garrisoned by 46 Spanish soldiers who were supporting the Jacobites. And they had established a huge magazine of gunpowder. They were awaiting delivery of weapons and cannons from Spain. And when the HMS Enterprise was one of the ships that attacked Eileen Donean Island, and the bombardment of the castle lasted for 3 days. And ultimately, Captain Herdman of the Enterprise sent his men ashore and overwhelmed Spanish tenders. And the troops from the Enterprise that the captain had sent on board found 343 barrels of powder.
Wow.
Which was what was used to blow up the last of the walls and stuff in the final bombardment.
That's just insane.
It just pretty much sat in total disarray for 200 years. It lay neglected, abandoned, and open to the elements. And then, like you said, in 1911, Colonel John McCrae Gilstrap purchased the island, and his clerk of works, which was Farquhar McCrae, they worked together to redesign and try to bring the castle back to its former glory, but with no detailed prints and stuff around. That was they went with what a small island fortification would look like.
Yeah.
And that's what they built the current Eileen Donean Castle to look like.
I mean, can you imagine the cannonballs that must be lying in the water around about that castle?
Must be loads.
Could you imagine cannonballs that are still stuck in the ground on the property?
Yeah. Can you imagine being in there when the cannonballs were landing?
Wow.
That's beautiful, though.
Well, you figure in a brown bass musket, you use just a few ounces, if even an ounce of powder, to project a small lead round ball from the barrel to your enemy that was facing you down. But a cannon was using 16 ounces of powder, a whole pound of powder, to project that cannonball. So yeah, it was going right through the stone walls. It was going right through the battlements, everything.
Yeah, I mean, I mean that would just be diabolical. It'd be like being in a bunker, but windows exploding, the ceiling falling in.
Yeah.
I mean,
fear would be immense.
Yeah, I know. But can you think of the spirits that's there? Think of the spirits for all the years that's been there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, and the funny thing is, because of what it is and what it means to Scotland and the McRae family, I don't think there's ever been a paranormal investigation there. If there has, I've never heard of it.
I wouldn't imagine so, no, because it's private.
That's actually really interesting. I'm going to look into that.
You'd maybe need to book it a private session, and you would maybe be allowed to put it out there in the public.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. If and when I make it over, we'll do that. We will book a private investigation of that castle, and we will go in there and we will spend the night. And I don't know if you can actually lease the castle. I know you can lease the grounds for weddings and stuff, but I don't know if you can actually lease the castle.
You can hire the entire building. Yeah, you can hire the entire building.
Yeah, you can hire it.
It's quite expensive. Very expensive. We'll have to wait till we're bigger.
A pretty penny.
It does.
Once we get that gold play button, we'll be fine.
Oh,
yeah. Let me see here if they have anything. I have a site here. Wedding. Stay with us right here on the Eileen Donean site.
I can't imagine having that many Iron Fire horse.
I know.
Let's see here. Filming photo shoots. Oh, the place is owned now by the Conqueror Charitable Trust.
Yes, I've already looked it up because I wanted to see if it was up for sale. No, that I can afford it, but because there are a lot of castles about Scotland for sale now, I've noticed.
If you had a weekend to spend there, Drew, too, what would you do?
If I had the weekend to spend there,
yeah,
what would you do? What would you be on your agenda?
Oh, that's a good question. There's nothing on the website, by the way, that I can see right now about a fee. Of course, you probably have to call them, but they have a 1, 2, and 4 bedroom self-catering apartments close by with Eileen Donean Apartments. So you can close base yourself to explore Skye and Lacosh. So, but my God, if I could go there.
How much do you think it is for a 15-minute tour?
Probably.
Oh my God. Yeah, I would say probably right around that. I don't know the conversion though between pounds and dollars, so
you can spend up to an hour at the castle just wandering about. It's £11 each adult.
Oh, that's okay.
That's not bad.
The Wallace Monument's more expensive.
Yeah. Under five,
that's
free.
Probably $15 or $16 American.
Yeah, it's not that much at all.
I'm trying not to laugh at the image.
We could say we're having a wedding. We could say we're having a wedding, and then break out all the ghost hunting equipment.
There you go.
Good,
We're going to have a wedding, but first we want to see which of the ancestors are here to visit with the wedding.
It's just my gran. We need to wait till my papa comes to give me away.
My best man is my great uncle, McCallum McRae. So I have to make sure he's here.
As long as you're not going to be like one of the people that say they're going to marry the ghost of a pirate or something.
Oh no. It's crazy. Then they fell out, remember? She wants a divorce.
Aye, because she couldn't see him.
They couldn't get intimate.
Hey, the nice thing about it, you're going to save a lot of money at the Kaylee afterwards in food costs.
Yeah.
I mean, see, we need to go there and do an investigation. See, the more people that go to that spirit shack and purchase some stuff, it gives us stuff, for me and Drew to go and visit that location.
Yes, and I'll be buying my REM pod out of there. I'm saving up for one, and I'll definitely buy it out of.
Well, before I make it and everything, I have got to come up with the funds to get an actual McRae tartan. It was so expensive to order my tartan for my wedding. I actually had to use the Stuart tartan, which my family, the McRaes, did fight with Mary Queen of Scots. So I wore the Royal Stuart tartan at the wedding, but I wanted the McRae tartan, and it was just so bloody expensive to have shipped here. It was. It was, if somebody bought it there and sent it here, it wouldn't be near expensive. But I didn't know anybody in Scotland at that time. And
so, Drew, number one, do you have a tartan, Drew?
We have the Miller tartan. My big brother got married in that. My name is Andrina Miller Brown. That's my mum's name. So I couldn't find a brown tartan as such. So my brother got married in the Miller tartan.
Off my dad's side's the McDonald's, and my mother's side's the Greg's.
Right.
Danny's in the chat. I don't know if Danny's still there. That's his favourite clan in it.
Yeah, Danny's Ferguson.
That is for you. That's for you, Danny.
He's winding you up again, Christopher.
I'll let you watch. He'll be making some potions and chasing me about.
We'll put you in a jar, boy.
He's going to put me in a jar. Oh, don't say that. Where's my mystical love and light? She'll be putting me in a jar.
She's in the chat.
Oh yeah, Miss Mystical's down there.
Yep, she's here.
She'll be putting me in the jar again.
Keeping an eye on you.
I'm still trying. I'm still trying to figure what image she had in her head earlier that was making her.
Is she talking about
so awful bad.
Sent me?
Yeah.
For the thumbnail.
All will be revealed.
Yeah, she knows how to get a hold of me on Messenger, so she could tell me anytime she wants to what vision was in her head that was making her laugh so bad.
I wonder if that castle's got a dungeon.
We could maybe tell Drew too.
I wonder if that castle's got a dungeon.
Probably will have a dungeon.
I'm sure it would have to have some kind of a dungeon, but it couldn't be too awful deep because of it being an island.
Aye.
An island does have water not very far under its land, especially a small island like that. It's not very big.
I know.
Most of us, at least some of us probably in here, have got family property that's bigger than that island. It's just, I would say it's probably only 20 or 30 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not big.
I mean, obviously, you can't really live in the building anymore, but you've got the wee house to the left there, then you've got the main castle itself, and then you've got the kind of walls and stuff, and that's really it, isn't it?
No, I don't understand why you'd want to put a small house to the left when there's multiple bedrooms in that place. So there's enough room for your whole family to come for a reunion and just stay in the castle or the secondary buildings there.
What I don't get about it, right, and this is what I don't get about it, Drew, too. Like, you've got a big wall that protects the castle, right, to stop people from getting in. But then you've got a little house at the side with loads of small doors and windows that you can climb in. And the same with the other side. I don't think they've built it correctly when they've rebuilt it.
Well, I'm sure the outside wall was actually a wee bit bigger than what it is. But the main idea was, you had the ramparts and you had all the windows and stuff to fight from on the sides of the locks. And then as for getting to the castle from the mainland, all you had was that little bridge. And it was very easy to guard that little bridge.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was 4 or 5 horses wide. So I mean, it's not a very large bridge at all.
It's not a very big bridge. I don't think you could even build. Could you drive a car across that?
I think it is big enough to drive a car across, but that's about it. I mean, you're going to get a small car across it. But when it comes to people trying to invade from the mainland, all you would have to do is go right in front of that first little hexagonal rampart right there and set a cannon right there at the entrance to the bridge with some grape shot.
Yeah.
And it's going to take out anything that's coming across that bridge, because grape shot will expand to 12 or 14 feet at 15 yards.
No. I'm just actually looking up how to see if there's any recorded modern deaths at the place, because that'd be quite an interesting place to find if there was any like graves at the place. Do you know that people that have died there and they just buried them in the kind of grounds? So here we've actually got the ghosts of Donean Castle here. I've brought this up. Perhaps the records of Castle in Scotland, Donean is believed to be the most romantic place. There you go. Drew 1. You could go there and get married again. The centre where the 3 history locks meet. Let's see. Famous appearance. I want to see if I can find any ghosty activity. It says there's ghosts of the Spanish soldiers.
Oh.
Ah.
Oh no!
Well, you figure back when the Enterprise crew come aground right there, they had no love for the Spaniards at that time. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that that the website, when it said they overran the Spanish soldiers, I'm sure probably half the Spanish soldiers lost their lives in that overrunning, because the English had no love for the Spaniards at that time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, we need to do an investigation there. We'll need to find out about that. We'll need to go and visit that. We'll just sneak in some ghost hunting equipment. We'll dress up as American tourists with loads of cameras and stuff around about us.
Play dumb.
You know, we'll kid on, we're Japanese tourists. We'll have like 10 cameras and goggles on and stuff like that. We'll just, and get Drew.
How would they know?
What? I know they wouldn't again. Flashy things. Saying to the tour guys, you couldn't turn off the light, could you? Well, we'll walk about.
It should be real easy for you guys to dress up as American tourists. You just put on a pair of Levi jeans and a button-up short-sleeve shirt and walk up there and put on your best Texas accent. Well, he'll see the castle, yo.
I seen a Japanese tourist one day, and it was actually Lanark, Drew, right? It was Lanark, and I've never seen anything like this guy. I've never seen as many cameras in this guy's neck. He must have had about 6.
Oh, do you remember I told you about us staying at New Lanark? All the boys used to jump off the roof into the water for some reason. All the Japanese, Chinese tourists loved it, and they used to always stand and film them. That's what they did.
I mean, the guy had a Caribbean shirt on. The guy had a Caribbean shirt on and about 6 cameras in his neck. I mean, I've never seen somebody that looked totally out of place in my entire life.
New Lanark's quite good for the tourists.
I know. Yeah. So, Mr. Ellingsworth, what shows have you got planned for this week?
Oh, let me see here for this week. Let's see here. Of course, we have our 4 live streams a week, or at least I try to make it 4. 2 on Monday, 2 on Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time both days. Let's see here. As for our videos, just yesterday, the Count of Saint Germain was released, and I mentioned earlier, I mentioned the Highlander movie. The Count of Saint Germain has been recorded in journals and log and diaries for centuries.
Yes,
and some of these people by royalty they met with. He was always wealthy, and he always looked young. And even in New Orleans, Louisiana, at the beginning of the 20th century, he met with someone and introduced himself as Count of Saint Germain, and he was recorded at still only being about 45 years old, 200 years after the first recording. So, who knows? But tomorrow I've got a really interesting video coming out, and some people are going to like it, some people ain't going to like it.
I like your coffee mornings you have.
How many what?
Your coffee mornings. Because your coffee morning for me is lunchtime. So I sit
sometimes I can catch it.
Aye. I was sitting down with my cup of coffee, and I like to listen to it for maybe 10-15 minutes when I've got 15 minutes. And it's quite interesting because there's a lot of people come in your chat that do like quizzes that tell you interesting things, what I find very interesting.
Oh, yeah. I do a lot of... Yep. We have Rusty out of New Jersey that comes in the morning time and does Today in History. And he'll usually go back to the 15th or 16th century and go all the way up to modern time with all the historic happenings of that day. A lot of times on Friday nights when I don't have a guest, we will do some type of history quiz, whether it's movie history or American history or world history or something. I try to keep it entertaining. I try to keep it fun. I like to cover all forms of history, and that was one reason. I just done a video not very long ago about movie history, and tomorrow I've got the video coming out, The True History That Forged the Iron Throne.
Ooh.
Now, for those of you that have, got stuck on HBO for 8 seasons following the Game of Thrones, when George R.R. Martin wrote the original Song of Ice and Fire, the book series, it was actually based, or parts of it was based on true history. Certain people were based on true historic figures. And I outline all of those in the videos coming out tomorrow.
That must have took a while to get research that. True.
It took a wee bit. But let me see here.
Thank you,
Sunday.
David, for sharing that in your group. Could you please give everywhere that's listening to this, could you please give Drew Ellingsworth a subscribe, because let's get him to 1,000 subscribers so they can get more.
Yeah, I'm not very far away this time. We're getting back up there. But Sunday, I have a video coming out.
Channel as well? Mystical Love and Light, and I could get Mystical Love and Light, and I could also help you on her channel and my channel to get out there and get past that milestone.
Awesome! I would love it. I would love it.
Definitely.
But Sunday, I have a video coming up on America's attempts to erase Nikola Tesla from history.
Oh, I need to watch that because I'm fascinated with that. I'm fascinated with Nikola Tesla.
Me as well. Yeah. I've just no long started following it all.
Yeah.
Now, I have one video coming out on a witch hunt in Harlan County, Kentucky in 1850.
Ooh.
You'll be watching that, Drew.
Yes, I will so.
Yeah.
And the one coming out, the first one coming out for Irish American Heritage Month. And I loved doing this one. It was the shared power of Ireland and Scotland, Dalriada.
That'll be interesting.
The Kingdom of Dalriada.
That will be actually interesting. Drew, you have got an awesome channel. You really do. I mean, some of the stuff that you've got in there, I do watch it, like listen to it.
Yeah, I watch. I'd love to see you back at your status you were in your last channel because you totally deserve to be there where you were. And we'll get you back.
And you know, it's real funny. Great Millstone Daily Bread 411. Thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. You pop up here on the screen. I just ran across a post from another channel yesterday, and they were discussing how can someone turn in fake copyright strikes against someone who didn't do anything wrong. And of course, you know, I put my whole story in there as a response. Just happened to me 2 years ago. I was up to almost 5,000 subscribers. I had a decent income coming in every month. I had 950 videos, and somebody got a feather up their arse and decided they were going to turn in 3 fake copyright strikes in 3 days and get my channel pulled. And I lost 3/4 of my videos. I lost all my subscribers. I lost my only income. And this past December 1st, we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary with the new channel. And here we are getting ready to make 1,000.
I'm glad you didn't give up.
Don't give up.
Takes a lot more than some asshole. Takes a lot more than some ball bag to make me give up anything.
Exactly.
Drew, you'll go back. One of these days, you can look back and you'll be sitting with 10 million subscribers.
Yes, because the summer's coming and you'll be doing your reenactments again and your ghost hunting and things. So remember that, guys, that he does do reenactments and things on the channel. It's very interesting.
Oh, yeah, I do everything from the era of the Jacobite Uprising all the way to the cowboy era here in the U.S. So I stay busy. Plus, we have our investigations at historic cemeteries, different locations. Also, and I wanted to say something to both of you while we were here. I know not all of my followers are in America. I have followers in like 12 or 14 different countries. You know, you guys do too. You have followers in different countries. I have got the first commercial done for this year's first Ghostorama.
Right.
Now, you'll remember, right? We done Ghostorama for the first time in August last year. Jan and her husband from JJ's Adventures came up and joined us. Several YouTubers from around the state of Michigan and Indiana and Illinois all came to visit. We're going to have 5 this year.
Brilliant.
So we have the very first commercial done. I will send it to both of you. On Messenger, so you can start sticking it at the end of your videos or whatever and advertise it. And maybe, just maybe, we can bring some guys down from Canada. We can bring some folks in from other parts of the country, and maybe even bring some folks in from other countries.
I don't mind doing that for you, Drew. Not a problem, brother.
I'll stick that on my videos, help you out. And remember now, Drew, that you can stream through Ghostwatch Scotland on Facebook. I added you as a moderator, an admin. So all you need to do is you can link StreamYard to that. So when you go live on YouTube, you'll go live on Ghost Squad Scotland at the same time.
Brilliant.
And I did that for ingredient test. So, yeah. I'll talk to you after the
I
show how to
haven't
do
figured
that.
out how to do that yet on when I use YouTube streaming. I know how to do it when I use StreamYard.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to do it through StreamYards, or you can't really do it with, what you call it, YouTube. You have to do it with like a third party, a third thing like this.
Yeah, see, once again, and a lot of people don't know this. I think I've told you guys, since Grandma passed away a month ago, she always made the house payment and she made the utility payments. We paid everything else. Well, since losing her, we lost $1,100 out of our budget each month.
Wow.
So we're pinching pennies. I don't know if you guys have that saying over there. We're
pinching.
Yep, we're pinching pennies right now, trying to keep house and everything. Since that, Grandma paid on this place for 16 years. Her grandpa bought it 17 years ago. He died a year later, and this was his dream. So, we're trying to keep the house. A penny pinching right now, trying to save every penny we can to make the house payment and everything. But
we'll try to get monetized again, brother. Definitely.
Yeah, but where I was going with that is, if I can start seeing clear to have that $20 a month to only use StreamYard, then I'll be able to put all of my live streams on Ghost Squad Scotland.
Yeah, definitely.
I know it's expensive and stuff, because I'm doing this through Bald and Bonkers. I'm doing through it.
We all have to do it just to get that extra, don't we?
It's a lot of people don't realize how expensive it is running a podcast. They think they think it's cheap and all that, but it's no. I mean,
to do it properly, you have to invest.
Yeah,
a couple of dollars a month, a couple of pounds a month for sure.
I mean,
I know, Jan. You always do. You always do,
amazing,
and I've told you time and time again how much I appreciate everything you do for me, for the channel, for my family, Christmas presents, and speaking of which, and I didn't get a chance to put this in today's video, but actually, what are you grinning about up there, Chris? What are you grinning up there? What are you grinning about?
Because I've got a feeling you've got to. Well, Drew and Gina, do you want to put your link in the chat, please, so people can?
Yeah, sure.
Here a few weeks ago, and I love this guy to pieces. Here a few weeks ago, I had the first non-human guest on my live stream.
Is that green guy?
That's the green guy. That's Tildar Hobblesquatch. He is a goblin that lives on the West Coast here in America. He actually sent me one of the most beautiful pipes I have ever seen. It's made out of cherry wood, and it is probably one of the most beautiful tavern pipes I ever seen in my entire life. I will be doing an unboxing of that one in the next video that I do. But today I actually received a gift package from Australia.
Really?
And it had a bottle of Vegemite, which, from what I understand, is a very acquired taste. Yeah, acquired is a good word. But I'm anxious to try that, and of course, she sent us some flowers for Grandma, some forget-me-nots to plant in our planters up in the window above the sink. So, if Christine, if you happen to pop in and watch this video, thank you very much. Tildar, I love the pipe. I cannot wait to find some good pipe weed to smoke in it.
Christine's amazing.
That's going to be a good smoke, I think.
I'm just looking for your chat.
She is. She's wonderful.
Christopher and I is going to be talking to her and Bree at some point in time, so watch out for that as well, guys. We just need to talk to her.
There you go. There's Drew's Paranormal Vlog in the chat, guys. If you could give her a subscribe, please.
Thank you, everybody.
That hobble squatch guy, that about to take him a long time to put that makeup on.
Why?
I actually had a chance to talk to him and his girlfriend, who does a lot of his videography for him when he does his videos. She is usually the one who's sitting behind him at the bar or whatever when he's doing his videos. That is his girlfriend, fiance, whatever. But he built the rusty nail in his garage during the worldwide pandemic. So him and his friends have a safe place to meet and play cards and play games and drink. And he come up with the idea. He actually got on YouTube, and this is a key, guys, and everybody should listen to this. When you're trying to get something rolling with your channel and you want to do something that nobody else is doing, get on YouTube and just spend a whole day looking at videos and try to find a niche that nobody else got. And he's been a big gamer for years. He's not an old guy by any means. He's still very young. But for years he was a Dungeons and Dragons player. And he developed his goblin character for Dungeons and Dragons. So when he decided to start his YouTube channel, he went looking for any non-human channels. And that's where he developed the idea for Tildar Hobblesquatch. Was because there's no orcs, there's no goblins, there's no elves, there's no nothing. So he decided, I'm going to take my love for gaming and I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel. And now he does everything as Tildar.
I see he was at some type of para conference or something like that today with like action figures and stuff like that. Because he was putting out videos. In fact, I'll maybe message him and maybe get him on the show, maybe help him grow a wee bit. Because he's actually
he's hilarious, dude.
Yeah,
just to sit and talk to him. We texted back and forth. We exchanged phone numbers and texted back and forth for 2 weeks before his interview. And he is hilarious.
It's quite funny because I watched the poker night. I watched the poker night he was having, and his pipe, and it was just loads of smoke everywhere. He actually,
when we messaged the first time, when we audio chatted the first time, he's like, hi Drew, this is, I'm not going to say his real name, but I'm like, no, stop right now. If you're going to talk to me and I can't see your face, then at least talk to me like Tildar, not like you. So all of our voice messages back and forth, we're talking like this. And
what does he actually sound like? Have you ever heard him?
He's got a very important computer type job. And he has a very professional, nice talking voice.
Right.
And I'm like, no, this is not Tildar. You're gonna no, hell no. So he kept, every time he messaged me like this.
I watch him all the time now. He should be. I'll tell you something.
I keep forgetting about him. I need to get him up.
I can't something, Drew. I might try and get him for the show. We'll try and get
that would be great.
Halloween. For running about Halloween.
That would be great. Especially with Scotland being the land of mystery, the land of myth and wonder.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
full makeup and everything.
Seriously. For how many centuries is there a bloody damn unicorn on the flag?
True.
Or the crest, I mean.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, Scotland and Ireland and the extreme north of Britain is the land of elves and dwarves and goblins and dragons and unicorns and everything.
I'd love to get them up, honestly. I think people would get their eyes opened.
Well, you know JJ's Adventures? I think I'll see if I'll message him through YouTube.
Okay, Sister Ryan. Thank you. Bye bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'm just about to end the show anyway, but I would like to thank you, Drew, Mr. Drew Ellingsworth. It's easy calling you Drew too. It's a lot easier, right? And for both of you for coming on.
It's always a pleasure to talk to Drew.
Next week.
It's always my pleasure, guys. I am more than happy to come on and spend all the time with you that you could tolerate me.
Next Wednesday, Andrea, do you want to talk about Rosslyn Chapel?
Yeah, let's do Rosslyn Chapel. Let's do it.
Let's do Rosslyn Chapel. So
please
visit Drew Ellingsworth's channel, give him a subscribe, get him to 1,000 subscribers. Do the same for Drew's Paranormal Vlog. Do the same there. And I hope you all have a fantastic week. And look forward to what's that? There's All Things Healing with Heather. Heather's up. Welcome. There's a new person in
welcome, there. Heather.
But honestly, guys, thank you for subscribing to the show because we're nearly at 1,140 subscribers now.
Yeah, you're getting you there. We need to get you monetized, Christopher.
We'll be monetized soon, but catch you later, dudes, and I'll talk to you, Drew. Beth Drew's behind the scenes. So catch you later, everybody, and have a
bye, everybody. Blessings.